Thank you for waiting. We had mild audio issues because we are not working. So we have to look at this. So I'm going to use this anyway just because we are recording it. Welcome to Hustings, the Executive Elections 2016. This evening we are having hustings/debates with our candidates for welfare and equality and for our candidates for Vice President for Clubs, Societies and Student Engagement. We're going to get started with our welfare and equality. We have one candidate for this position, Kane. We're going to take questions from the floor during the entire thing. So if at any stage you have a question, there are sheets of paper littered throughout the hallway. And just passing them to the sides, and Andrew and Matthew will be picking them up and bringing them up here. If you have any points of information about anything any of the candidates say, please raise your hand and wait for me to point to you essentially. If at all times you can, I suppose, keep it a little bit quiet, because I like to hear myself, and it's nice to hear their responses too. The format is we're going to have up to 3-minute introduction from each candidate, followed by questions and answers essentially, and debates. So, off to you, Karen, 3 minutes.
Can you just hear me if I talk like this, or do I have to use this thing? Use the thing? Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Kane, and I would run for the Vice President of Welfare and Equality. I'm a final year biomedical science student, and that's as far as I've got since I rehearsed it. Yeah, didn't think I was going to be this nervous. Basically, the main things I want to do as the Welfare and Equality Officer is make a campus that is fully inclusive of everybody. I'm going to try and break down all of the stigmas around different groups of people and try and make everybody more aware of everyone's struggles. I also want to make sure all the support services are up to scratch. Don't make me laugh. Up to scratch on campus. And the other thing I want to do is, what was it? Oh my god. Oh yeah. I have this thing called the Scout Goal Initiative, which will be the overall thing. It's like a year-long campaign that I want to make sure people are, to make people aware of each other's struggles. I didn't think I was good. The Science Goal Initiative, I'm an IWS instructor, so I'll be able to teach people basic life support, CPR, a load of other things that I think are valid life lessons that everybody needs. I also want to bring on things from Disability Awareness Week, which was teaching people what to do if somebody has a seizure or what to do if one of your friends has a panic attack. I also, through this campaign, will hopefully be able to make first years more aware if there's somebody that's in their class that isn't really interacting within the first few weeks, that they'll sit down beside them and ask them how their day is going, and hopefully through that incentive it'll get everybody talking more and everybody more aware of everything that's going on. Another major thing I want to do is with the counselling services is trying to alleviate the waiting times, because currently there's a 2 to 3 week waiting list thing. I'm hopefully going to do that through this thing called the peer-to-peer support system, which is what Trinity does. Trinity has a different thing though, is they have tutors for every student that they have. Maynooth, we don't have a tutor system. So I'm hopefully going to use the Orientation Leader program, which is run by Ian Russell, the Student Engagement Officer, to see if I can bring on the orientation leaders throughout the year and get them to give me, say, maybe 4 hours of their time when I'm not in my office, because most of the time a student just wants somebody to talk to when they're having a bad time. So that student will be able to be in the office if I'm not there, and will be able to refer them on to me if they feel an issue needs to be brought any further. I have a load of things on my manifesto, so I don't know if you've been following me on Facebook. So I'm going to stop that little 3-minute thing there because I think I'm going over it, but ask me any questions if you want to. Thanks.
We're going to start off nice and simple. What is your favourite animal and why?
I really like the giraffe. I think it goes through a lot. It's able to reach the very tip tops of the trees, but it has a hard time in swallowing things down. So I like to look out for the giraffe. I just realised what I did.
I've had to read through your manifesto, and there's a lot of welfare and equality in there.
Yes.
But as the welfare officer, you also sit on an academic council, and you sit on the university's governing authority. These are the 2 top tiers essentially of university governance. And how do you feel you're able to represent students there?
Okay, so in my 4 years of college, I've gone through an awful lot. I have entered the university as a completely healthy student, and towards the middle of my degree, I turned into not so healthy student. I got hit by lightning. I've had concussions. I was under investigation for epilepsy. I had a load of things, so I'll be able to advocate for the students that mightn't be getting on too well in college. I also, I'm a biomedical science student, so I know what it's like to have massive hours, to have a huge course load, to be so involved with clubs and societies. So hopefully I'll have a wider understanding of what everybody needs and be able to go for what they need. Yeah? Okay, cool.
I suppose if you can briefly outline, how do you think you will go about reducing stigmas?
Reducing stigmas. I guess this is one of the things I want to do through the Sounds Going initiative, which is, it is going to be a year-long campaign, which I'll do through social media and also through poster campaigns. What kind of stigmas are you talking about here?
Any sort of stigma.
Like any stigmas at all whatsoever?
You said you want to get rid of stigmas, so what type of stigmas
okay, now I get you. This is my word. Okay. Alright. Yeah, I'm going to do it through the Sounds Going initiative. So, like, it's really just trying to get people to be sound. Because you have no idea how many times I've, like, hit the floor and people have been like, she's putting it on. She's completely lying. Like, why would anybody lie about something that's going on with them? Why would they lie about needing help? So it's trying to get people out of their own bubble of, oh, I have so much going on. You couldn't be having a worse time than me, because everybody is having their own worst time. So, yeah. Okay, I'm going to stop now.
Okay, quick question. Your view on gender-neutral toilets. You mentioned in your manifesto that you want to introduce them. What about the additional A, cost of this put on buildings, B, the lack of spaces already existent, and C, are they a desperate need over other simple things?
Other simple things, okay. I feel like this is definitely a massive, massive need for the university. There's currently things going underway with the current welfare officer is trying her best to advocate for gender neutral bathrooms. I've been talking to David, the general manager in the SU, who said it is going to be quite hard to get gender neutral bathrooms in the already existing buildings on campus. And what I'm hoping to do by 2019 with the new student centre is going up, that gender neutral bathrooms will be put in the plans for that building. It's very hard to get bathrooms put into what is already built up. I'm going to try my best to get one in before 2019, but there will 100%, over my dead body, like it's going to happen. I hopefully hope it's going to happen. It's by 2019 there'll definitely be one in the student centre. Yes!
I suppose building planning stuff, you've also mentioned you want to do part of your role is equality, and accessibility in buildings is a huge issue on this campus, particularly on South Campus with all the older buildings. How do you plan on addressing this specifically? Specifics.
Oh, specifics make my words go strange. Okay, I hope to work with the Access Office to see what budget is actually there that we can use, because wheelchair accessibility and accessibility to all of the buildings on South Campus is a massive issue. Like, the doors of Callan Hall are way too heavy, and I don't see how it could be that expensive to change the doors that are already there. Like, simple things like doors that pull open, they should be push, so you can actually push into them. Hopefully I'll be able to find out what budgets are there and what money we can use to fix these issues. Also things like the paths being too narrow, especially where the new building is going up over here. That must be really tricky to get around on. So it's really using what funds are there. Like, that'll be one of the top things, is trying to make the campus more accessible. So, yes.
Okay, I suppose going to build on that in terms of funds. You got to see what funds are there, and if there's no funds there, what are you going to do?
Maybe we could do things like, so we have our charity, our chosen SU charity, but maybe for Disability Awareness Week we might be able to use that week and the funds that are taken from that week to improve our services on campus. So there is things like, I'm sure we could just take that 1 week from Disability Awareness Week, all the money that we get, and pool that in to improving those services. Yeah? No? I feel like you have another question to ask me. Okay.
Have you read the Charities Act, and what, in terms of fundraising for specific things, it has to be linked to a designated registered charity, and how would that tie into your using disability funds?
I haven't read this act. I will be straight up honest. I'll find some way. I definitely will find some way. There's funds that have to be gotten, and if we can't get them from somewhere, like they have to be able to come from something that the SU does. Like, why would we be giving over, like obviously the SU charity is a massive thing that is fantastic to have, but the money that we make, it has to go into making services better for our students as well. So yeah, I'll figure out a loophole hopefully. Oh my goodness. This is nerve-wracking. Oh my god.
But just you can at any point as well decide to say not to answer, because we are going to some master questions.
Okay, cool.
Just so you know, I should start with that one. Sticking with the theme of facilities, what facilities do you think are required in the new student centre within the remit of welfare?
A welfare office, yeah. I don't really think there's anything really. There's no point in doing that to me. Yeah, I don't know. I don't actually know. This whole thing of me trying to break down the massive stigma of giving, like it's whatever everybody needs that should be in the student centre. Oh, I don't know. I choose not to answer that question. I'm just.
We'll move on now away from studies for minutes. Okay, what about the closing of the Inclusive Learning Initiative for students with complex disabilities? I think how you're going to combat that, or
Okay,
do you know what
can
it
you
is?
say that again? Sorry.
The closing of the Inclusive Learning Initiative for students with complex disabilities. So firstly, are you aware of what that is? And secondly, what are you going to do about it?
Firstly, I was not aware of it. Brilliant. I would try to find out more about it. I'm guessing would probably be in conjunction with the education officer as well. So it's something that we could do together. Is it? Is it? I'm sorry, I don't actually know anything about it, so I would read up on it and see what needs to be done there. I actually didn't know about it. Sorry. Oh God. Okay.
Sorry. The Inclusive Learning Initiative, as far as I'm aware, this wasn't one of my questions, was an initiative set up within the university to allow students who had complex disabilities to attend particular courses. They might have been level A degrees, but they were a range of different levels, 5, 6, 7s, to essentially get some higher education and give them access routes to university. And essentially the reason it's closing is due to funding. It was externally funded, it was never set up. It was set up through the university but not by the university, and it's essentially been shut down because whoever was funding it has stopped.
Okay.
Okay, move on to a nice easy one. What's your stance on repeal the 8th?
Repeal the 8th is something that I have been thinking a lot coming up to this campaign, up to this election, because obviously it's something that I will be advocating a lot for the students for. I feel that in my position as a welfare officer, I shouldn't have any strong stance on this, because it's a hard thing for students to talk about. It's a hard thing for somebody to stand up and say I'm pro-choice, and it's also hard for somebody to say I'm pro-life. So my stance would be that I want to be inclusive of everybody, whatever their opinion is on it, so they can come and talk to me about it. Because this issue isn't something that can be just brushed off. It is a very serious issue, which I will hope to help everybody with. So that's all I'm going to say on that one. Yeah.
Building on that. There will be a referendum later on in this year, as far as I know, on exactly the union stance on the 8th Amendment. And essentially, should that referendum say that we do have a positive stance one way or another for it, how will you ensure that, essentially, that your role, as you said, is to remain neutral and ensure that everyone is supported? When the union has a stance one way or another, how do you plan on staying neutral?
Obviously, whatever I'm mandated for, I will work in my best capacity to go for whatever the union decides on. I guess I'll start working policy groups within the university, so students from different faculties and different backgrounds can come in and have their say on the issue. I'll do these through leaflets, social media campaigns of all the information that that group decides on, and I'll also work with the USI incoming equality officer, which will be Sheena Cahill. So hopefully I'll have a good, I'll have a good thing there. So it's really to get the information out to the students and ensure that everyone is being spoken for. Yeah. So.
Speaking of USI, do you know who the current USI welfare officer is?
Is it Aoife Huron? Yeah. Sound.
What is your favourite colour and why?
I hate being asked questions about colours because I sort of have a complex background with colours. I'm a synesthete. Yeah, so I see people as colours and I see music as colours. So I guess my favourite colour has to be a dark blue colour. It's because it's a nice, I'm not going to get into the background, it's just a nice colour.
Okay. And that totally raises the question of what colour am I?
It really irritates me. No, I'm only joking. I don't know what kind of area.
Okay. You've mentioned counselling and you want to improve their waiting times. Do you have any sort of idea of how to do that?
Yeah. So obviously I don't fully know the budget and what's there yet. So I've been trying to think outside the box of the ways that we can sort of alleviate the times and try and make sure that people who just need somebody to talk to are being seen straight away. I hope to do the peer-to-peer support system, which I said in my little introduction, but I got completely confused. Which Trinity has tutors. It's going off the Trinity model. They have tutors which goes to every student. I hope to use the orientation leader team, which are like a bunch of amazing students who will hopefully give their time throughout the year, so that if I'm not in my office or I have to go away for something, they'll be able to sit in my office and ensure that the student who might need help has somebody to talk to and will be able to get the necessary help required there, because if I'm not there, there's nothing I can do. It will also, all of these people, the orientation leaders, will be trained in Safe Talk, Assist and Diversity and Inclusion training. So they won't just be going in there and being like, right, you're on your own now, lad. They'll be actually trained.
Building on that, your peer tutoring, the university, as far as I know, that's still bringing in their first year mentors next year, peer mentors essentially, so every first year student will be linked to a mentor who is there to help with essentially the non-academic side of things, and that's launching in September for all students. Well, it should be in theory, according to university. So is your job in that regard already done then, if those students are there in existence and every student is linked?
Not really, because from what I know about peer mentoring, that person isn't there all the time. This kind of thing will be in place that if a student genuinely needs to talk to somebody straight away, there will be someone there for them to talk to. It'll be a non-judgmental, fully confidential thing, because maybe a student might find it hard to talk to a peer mentor about something that's hurting or influencing their own life. I feel like a peer mentoring thing would be only for more education purposes if you're struggling with your studies. So this will be if you need help right there and now. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Would this group be separate to, I suppose, Sheena with her welfare crew had a similar idea of setting up a group of people there to essentially to help with welfare issues and all that. Mm-hmm. So what differentiates the two from each other? And are you having a welfare crew next year? And if so, what differentiates those two from each other?
Okay, without welfare crew, the campaigns that went on campus wouldn't have reached their full potential. The welfare crew ensures that posters go up, that things are done, that ideas keep flowing into these campaigns, because no one person can be behind a full week such as Soulfest or such as Kiss Week. So I definitely do plan to keep on welfare. Like, you couldn't put up all those posters or do anything like that by yourself. The peer-to-peer support system will be a different thing. They may be in welfare, but that might only be by coincidence. Anyone who knows the orientation leader program, you go through group interviews, you go through single interviews, you go through a massive application process. There are people that are picked to represent there are people that are picked to represent the university, and I hope that those people will be able to be strong and be there and not take on this person's problems. They'll be able to refer them on and be able to deal with the person that's coming to them. The welfare crew is something that's completely separate. It's more campaigns, it's more the driving blood behind what goes on, but no, there'll be two separate things. I hope, I think that makes sense, yeah? Okay, cool.
Moving on back to simple things. Who is the Director of Student Services in the university?
Is it Rose? No. Director of Student Services. I don't know. That's really bad, I should know that. Yeah. Don't say it's bad.
Niamh Lynch.
Oh, damn it. Okay.
Do you know the different offices in the Student Services? And what are they, I suppose?
So like the counselling service and all this kind of thing. Okay. So this the counselling service, the doctors, the chaplaincy. I said, yeah. Yeah, I don't know all their names, but I do know of them. I guess that's just a sort of on the spot question. I wasn't really prepared for that one. I would know each of the different places and the people in them, but I'm not very good at listing things on.
Yeah, I think you got most of them is budgeting, which I heard from somewhere there, and accommodation. And the student club is technically there, but it's technically not there at all. I suppose one of the things that we've happened recently in the university is one of the chaplains left. What's your view on this? Right.
Okay, so there's a big long thing about that chaplaincy thing. There's contracts and who was brought in from the Catholic Church, and there's a whole rigmarole of what actually went on there. So currently we only have one chaplain, who is Shay Caffey. Yes. Catherine Black had to leave because her contract was up. Shay Caffey is set to retire in September. So at the minute we are going to get a pastoral care worker, which I think is a good idea. I think it's nice that there's a different majority of students that are represented. Not everybody is Catholic nowadays, so it's good that we have two different people. What they're going to do come September is there's going to be a new chaplain and there's going to be a new pastoral care worker. So I do like the idea that there's two different ones, but regarding who they're going to be, I'm not so sure. Yeah. I'm sitting like a man. Oh my god. I'm a lady.
Okay. Do you think it's necessary to have a more diverse group for welfare crew as opposed to a predominantly women-based group?
Yes. 100% yes. Yeah.
How are you planning on doing that?
By hopefully getting people more involved at orientation. Hopefully they'll meet the sabbatical leaders, sabbatical officers, and we'll be able to interact with them more to get more students in. Also through Clubs and Socks Fairs Day, and it's more getting them to stay rather than getting them to join. Yeah, so hopefully they'll stay. I hope to make them stay, yeah. I've got to stop talking now.
Keep talking.
Stop it.
Okay. Way off now. How will you make St. Pat's students feel more included on campus around issues like repeal the age?
I actually get on very well with all the seminarians in South Campus because my housemate works in Puget Hall. I just want to make sure that their views and their opinions on repeal the eighth is heard. Their opinions are just as important as everybody else's opinions. Right bang smack in the middle of what I was saying earlier, there's no one student's opinion that's any more than any other. So I'll make sure the seminarians are heard and represented as far as they need to be. Yeah.
Do you have any exact ideas on how you do that? As in St. Patrick's students would I suppose, traditionally not associate as strongly with the union, partly because of the location and there's not as many of them. Particularly around divisive issues like this. Like last year with marriage referendum, we saw there wasn't a huge amount of engagement from them. Well, there was some, definitely, it wasn't as much as you would have expected. With such another controversial issue such as this, do you have any particular ways of doing it?
I guess it's meeting up with them. I was actually in contact with two of the seminarians before I made my manifesto, and they're going to come back to me with ideas to get them more included. I guess they sort of feel sometimes that they can be isolated from Maynooth University, like our actual, this thing, yeah, I don't know. It's trying to get them to join into us, but it's also hard for them to do because they have things like retreat where they stop talking for 48 hours, they have things where they stop talking for a whole week, they're not allowed to talk to each other. So when it comes to things like that, it can be hard for them to interact with students when they're not actually allowed out of St. Pat's College. So hopefully on the days and times that they can, when it's not conflicting with their schedules, we can get them more involved with, say, clubs and societies, maybe try and get them more involved as a unit, and then start working towards all this stuff with Repeal the Eighth, because I guess there's a much bigger thing that we need to get them more involved rather than just getting them involved because there's a massive referendum coming up. So, yeah.
We are going to bounce back to accommodation, if I can remember the questions. Yes, do you know what the POTB is?
I've heard of it. It's something rent something, is it? Again, no.
It is rent something.
Something
Accommodation issue,
rent,
is it?
yeah, it's
Private residencies, tenancy board.
Yeah.
Do you know what they do or why they're important?
they allow all the students to know their rights and things when it comes to landlords also. Yeah, okay.
Somebody correct me on this piece, but I think they are the body that would complaints would go to, and they're the ones who keep the registered list of all registered landlords, and essentially govern that section, essentially admin that section. You're not governed, but you mentioned accommodation in your manifesto. Unfortunately, I don't know what it says. So do you want to explain your ideas around accommodation, the issues, and your resolutions?
Currently, I know that there's an awful lot of people going without houses in Maynooth. Especially international students are getting ruined. I was trying to think of a word that I could use. Are getting ruined when it comes to paying rent. They're paying something like €700 for a room, which is ridiculous. But they don't understand that it's not the norm. So I hope to have a social media campaign. I hope to do an awful lot on social media because everyone is on social media at this stage. I hope to have a social media campaign which will allow people to interact and know what are the norms. Also, if electricity is included, gas, bins, all of these kind of things are included in the price that they're paying. I hope to do leaflets as well for the people who aren't on social media, may not be on social media all that much. And then I also hope to do the leaflets to all the homes in Maynooth and the surrounding areas so that if there's any rooms going free, we can put Maynoothians into those rooms. Yeah. Oh yeah, I also want to put rent books in the more available in the Students' Union. And have leaflets that actually say all of our rights on it. Like, you should be signing a lease every year so your landlord can put up the rent again the next year. So if you haven't signed a lease, do that.
I suppose sticking on leases, I suppose at the moment it's a landlord's market, essentially there's a lot more demand than supply. So a lot of students, essentially, if they're told you can pay us a deposit now, or if they're arguing for lease at a sudden now, get somebody who doesn't want to pay. Do you have any ideas how to combat that?
It really is making people more aware of their rights. I know this year I actually haven't signed a lease yet because I think my landlord is trying to do exactly the same thing to me. But I'll be lucky enough that I'll know my rights and I will fight to the death with him if he thinks he's going to put up our rent by any more money this year, because it's starting to go insane that we're paying such massive prices for accommodation. So it's making sure students have the backbone to be like, no, sorry, you're messing me about. You're not allowed to do that. Yeah.
Accommodation, on-campus accommodation. Do you know who is head of that department unit?
No.
That's kind moving on for accommodation then.
There's so many sheets of paper. Oh my
That's
god.
okay, not them repeat each other themselves.
I don't like this.
Would you rather fight a horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
Wait, what did you just say?
Would you rather fight a horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses? And evaluate.
Definitely the duck-sized horse. Because 100 duck-sized horses would kick the bejesus out of you. So at least with a duck you could just... With a horse-sized... No, a horse-sized duck is the one I'd want to fight. The duck-sized horses, no. Hi, Jess. Oh my goodness. It's much more nerve-wracking being on your own, lads. So, oh my god.
At least there's nobody putting across you to say,
True.
actually.
Actually, sorry.
Except
You're
me.
wrong.
I think I'm very nice. We'll go back to Kingston for a minute.
Oh, look.
I suppose Kingston has been described as the walk of shame, essentially the walk up the stairs to Kingston. Do you have any idea how to address that and that it's not a student-friendly building?
I see, I guess that's the first time I've heard that as well, and I see where they're coming from. But counselling, it shouldn't be a walk of shame up to counselling. Like, nothing should be a walk of shame because you're going to ask for help with things that are genuinely you're struggling with. The fact that somebody would even refer to counselling as the walk of shame up there, like, that's not okay. That's completely not okay. With regards to, are you talking about like moving it or something?
Just the physical space.
I've been up at the counselling area a couple of times and it is a nice space. It's nice that it's up and it's away from everything. If it was downstairs, people could walk in. Like, it's nice that it is upstairs, but I think that's a stigma that the students have decided that, oh, it's a walk of shame to counselling, and that's something that needs to be gotten rid of straight away.
Comment was just in relation to essentially the staircases are plain grey boring building. They don't look friendly and inviting. It was not the fact that Kingston was watching, it was the walk. The staircase essentially is, the building is not student friendly.
It is quite daunting. Like, I've attended counselling and I even find myself like the step to decide to go to counselling is so hard that then you get to the actual steps and you're like, oh god, here we go. And each step you go up, it's like, it is really, really daunting. And then they those are like cactuses and like aloe vera plants and they're terrifying. So I think maybe where that's coming from is that it is hard. It's like a physical kind of barrier to stop you from taking actual steps.
Okay. Yeah, I guess the only thing that you could do, like, the counselling service, like, you go up to get help. I don't know how making the stairs any more inviting. Like, I do understand where you're coming.
Like, maybe move it somewhere else that you don't have to tackle the staircase.
Maybe, but that's something that we will not be able to do until the student centre goes up, and maybe there's more ways we can move things around. But at the minute, I'd rather have that there than there be no counselling service at all. So, yeah, maybe we can put up like pictures and stuff. I don't know. I'll look into it. I promise I'll look into that.
Thanks. Okay, moving back to a more practical one. Do you know what your constitutional mandate is regarding campaigns? Numbers.
It's either 3 welfare and 2 equality, or 3 equality and 2 welfare campaigns a year.
The first one.
Yeah, the first one, yeah. 3 welfare and 2 equality. Equality isn't getting... Yeah, that's not very equal.
Do you have any ideas for those 5 campaigns? And will you want more? Or
I definitely hope to improve on the campaigns that have already been done this year. I think there's 2 years of massive work being put into the likes of Soulfest, Disability Awareness Week and Kiss Week. I think if I can pull on those weeks and make them even bigger than they've been already, or even just improve on ideas that were in there. I also hope to do the Sound Scone initiative, so that's going to be a year-long campaign that'll just sort of tip away, it'll just keep ticking over. So yeah, keeping the ones that are already there and then throwing a bit of my ones in there too, yeah.
I suppose we've gone through a whole load of different topics, from counselling and accommodation and back and forth. What would you think is the largest issue on campus? So if next year you only have to solve one thing, what would it be?
Inclusion. I want to make sure that everybody is being included in everything that's going on, that there's no groups of students that are being left out, or there isn't even one student that's being left out. So if I can break down the whole thing of people being afraid to go up to somebody that looks sad, or wants to get people included, I'll feel like I've done my job.
And then I suppose the opposite side is, what would be, I suppose, last on your list? What would be the smallest issue?
I don't feel like there's any small issues in this job at all. As a welfare and equality officer, there's nothing.
promote men's health?
My campaigns aren't actually hit at any one gender or any one group of people. So things like improving the counselling services, all of the campaigns that I hope to put on, the year-long supports for accommodation, budgeting, all of these things will be equally targeted at men and women. So it's getting it's getting everybody involved and not leaving anybody out of anything that's going on.
How would you feel about having rooms for minority groups in the new student centre? So, for example, LGBT, different religions, etc.
Can I choose not to answer this question? No.
No.
So I think you're talking about things like safe spaces and stuff. Yes, is that what you're going on? Yeah. So where I go with safe spaces is that it targets what I'm trying to do with making the campus more inclusive. And I hope that in the long term there'll be no need for something like a safe space. There'll be no need for issues like that. Like that is going to take years and years to go on. What I'm hoping to do within this year is to make everybody aware of each other's struggles, of everything that's going on. I understand that these groups may need a room, and I hope to have those, but to be able to do it in a way that nobody is getting it, I don't know, I'm sort of messing with my words now. It's trying to make everybody more aware of everything that's going on. Obviously, if there is a need for these rooms, they can come to me, we can discuss it more in detail. But what I hope to do is that we can break down everything like that that's going on and get everybody integrating more and talking more about things that are going on rather than people building up walls around them. Yeah.
And then building on that, the mature space is essentially one of these rooms designated for a particular subsection of the student body. So what would your view on that be? Should it be opened up? Should it be maintained? Or what?
These are sticky questions, like. It's another thing that I think we should be able to interact with the mature students as much as they should be able to interact with us, as much as everybody should be able to interact with each other. I know at the bunker that it's probably going to disappear within the next 3 or 4 months. So regarding a room which they will get, it will come on a scene basis. Like, I don't know if they're just going to get a new matures room. So hopefully, yeah, it's a work in progress. Hopefully, yeah, I don't know. I'm losing my speech now.
I was going to move on to an easy question, but I can't remember any actually. What is your favourite fizzy drink?
I'm not allowed to drink fizzy drinks. I guess it would probably be, because I'm diabetic, I'd probably drink Lucozade if I'm feeling really shaky like I'm doing right now, so yeah.
Trying to get his attention. Okay. What are you going to do to ensure that the pronoun policy is followed?
Ooh.
Oh, actually, sorry. Do you want to start off by explaining a pronoun policy?
Yeah. So what I'm hoping to do in Clothes and Socks Council, Union Council, is that anybody who stands up who has a question will go, "Hi, my name is Karen," female pronouns, and ask their question. This is just to get the idea of pronouns into the general community, to try and get people more aware of what pronouns are. So yeah, by just getting them involved in things like that, hopefully it'll continue on, and within, a couple of years, everyone will be using them.
Are you planning on making sure it's followed or enforcing it essentially?
Oh yeah. It's going to be a soft policy, because I know it can be quite scary when you get somebody's pronouns wrong the first time, and hopefully people will be understanding that it is an issue that's only just come up and many may not understand it. So I'll be introducing a soft policy that they will be used. Hopefully they will be, they won't be enforced as to say, but they will be encouraged to be used. So nobody will feel like they're being picked on or bullied or any of that kind of stuff.
There's currently very little awareness of eating disorders on campus, and there's very little support for those who suffer from them. How would you improve this?
There's actually a week coming up called Love Your Body Week, which is happening during the semester, which will cover eating disorders and everything around them. I guess I'll hope to put it into a campaign like Love Your Body Week, to make sure that people are aware of eating disorders, are aware that there's helps and supports out there. And obviously they can always come into my office to talk to me about the issues that are bothering them.
So the welfare officers often described as the condom queen as well. So do you plan on providing free condoms next year? And if so, what brand?
Yes, I do plan on keeping the condoms up. Obviously Durex, I think, yeah. Yeah, keeping them. Oh, gee! I'm going to finish on that. I think I'm coming back from that.
I'm going to get questions here, by the way, people.
Thank God.
Waiting time. Are you aware of the long waiting time for the doctors to get vital prescriptions? And if so, how do you plan on combating that?
I guess it's a thing that the university is getting larger, and the university needs to start realising that they can't keep packing students into such a small place. They're going to have to expand the counselling service, they're going to have to expand the health service. I hope that they'll be able to think of a better idea than having to spend €20 to go in and see Dennis Gaffney because they don't have the space. So maybe I'll be able to advocate more for these issues and make sure that it's raised at the appropriate meetings so people will actually get what they need, because if you're not feeling well, there's no way you're going to keep going to college. So yeah, that's a big thing I'm going to try and fix.
Back to inclusion. Commuters and their inclusion on campus has always been a huge issue regarding events and any activities that we do generally, we being the SU. How do you plan on combating this?
Wait, can you ask that question again? Sorry.
How do you plan on resolving issues around commuters and the lack of time to get involved in the union? As in, all our events are always in the evenings. Campaigns maybe during the week, but a lot of stuff is during the evenings. How are you planning on fixing that?
I guess as far as my job is concerned, it's welfare and quality, so I'll always ensure that the commuters have time to come into my office, that there's office hours that they'll be able to hit. I'll work in coordination with the club societies and student engagement officer as well as the president to see what we can do for making events during the day. I feel like that's something that I couldn't 100% do by myself, but I will help the other officers to make sure commuters are involved.
I'm going to finish up with who is your, I suppose, all-time hero? They can be a real person, a fictional character. Who's your hero, your idol, and why?
Everyone's going to be like lame, but it's totally my mom, so... Because she's just the best human in the whole entire world, and I don't know what I'd do without her. No, I'm good, thanks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much.
We're going to finish with that.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening. We get a round of applause for our We'll take a 5-minute break, and then we'll start with our hustings for the Vice President of Club Societies and Student Engagement.